Isn't this a great energy in this room? I am so excited that you're all going to be here with us as we take this journey. I grew up in this great city, about a 10-minute C-train ride from here in Marlborough. And growing up, my family didn't have much money. By the way, that's what makes me a real fiscal conservative. You don't know fiscal conservatism until you've grown up in a working-class immigrant family. But I was able to do so much in this city. And it came from attending great public schools, from checking books out at great public libraries, from exploring the city I love on public transit, and really having that opportunity. And that's the basis of everything that I do, is to create and continue to build a city and a community where every kid growing up in Northeast Calgary or anywhere else in the city has those same opportunities. So people often say to me, what's your vision for Calgary? And the vision is pretty straightforward. The Calgary I want is the Calgary you need. It's a city of communities where kids can walk to school, where folks can walk to the grocery store, where they can know their neighbors, where having that second family car is a choice, not a necessity. It's a city that understands the value of taxpayers' money. It's a city that finds the best possible way to deliver the best possible services. It's a city that's not afraid of innovation. It's a city that's not afraid of change. And you know something? We have that city. The citizens of Calgary are not afraid of innovation. The citizens of Calgary are not afraid of change. Do you know what the worst thing about Calgary is? What do you think? Some would say roads, some would say transit, some would say homelessness. I'll tell you what I think Don't step on my punchline. I will tell you that the worst thing about Calgary is our city council. Because the citizens are so far ahead of the city council. We know how to be innovative. We know, we've traveled, we've seen, we understand. We know what we need, and we know how to make change. But our council hasn't figured that out yet. And that's really what this campaign is all about. This is a campaign of ideas. It's a campaign about your ideas. And it's a campaign based on the premise that we can do better. Yeah, I love this city. I really do. I went to school here, graduated from university here, and did what so many others who graduated university 3 years ago, right, Shima? 3 years ago, did. I left. I left for better opportunities, or so I thought. And I had great opportunities, and I had the chance to live in great cities around the world. Toronto, which sadly is kind of a great city, Boston, New York, London, Amsterdam. But then I had the chance to come home. And I chose to come back. And I chose to come back to this city to help it grow and help it be so much better. And you know, I believe that we can, in fact, do better. When I look at a council that is so opaque that citizens can't even get information on how their council members voted, I say to myself, we can do better. When I look at the affordable housing crisis in this city and how council has managed to approve a grand total of 63 secondary suites in 3 years, I say to myself, we can do better. When I talk with the pub owner in Northeast Calgary, who has spent now $11,000 in 6 months trying to get a development permit so he can put in new light fixtures, I say to myself, we can do better. When I look at transit, roads, poverty, culture, sports, recreation, sustainability, all of those areas, I say to myself, we can do better. And I think that's what we're really about here. But the real question is, how do we get there? Any candidate will stand up here and tell you about all the great things that they want to do. And I think that what we really need to ask ourselves, and what this election is going to turn on, is the question of who can actually get us there. So over the course of this campaign, it is a campaign of ideas. It's a campaign where we encourage and engage all of you to join with us. So far, we've released 3 major policy platforms, which is about 2.5 more major policy platforms than any other candidate. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about them. And I'm also going to tell you that we will continue to release these better ideas as we move forward. With your input, with your assistance, we will be able to really show Calgarians what's possible. So better idea number 1 is about accountability. The debacle of the audit system showed us that this is a city council that is running without accountability. Imagine how many hours this city council spent arguing about whether 2 lanes of Memorial Drive should be closed on one sunny Sunday, August afternoon, for a total city contribution of $5,000. And while they were doing that, while they were having that argument, 100% of their contracts were over budget. While they were having that argument, they managed to spend $722 million of unbudgeted money without noticing. We can do better. And so our first better idea is about improving the accountability system with City Council. And that starts, and I'm nervous because I'm staring at an auditor, and that actually starts with fixing the audit system. City Council says, well, we've commissioned a report and they're going to do some research, and that system, that audit system, they're going to come back with some options maybe in January or February after the election, coincidentally. We can do better. We know what the answer is. And in fact, we've already released what the answer is. It's easy to make the auditor independent. You appoint them for a 7-year term that's non-renewable. They report directly to council. Their audit committee, which is made up of a majority of professional auditors, that's you, and not council members, guides their work. City Council can add things to their work plan, but they can't take them away. Done. Many, many other cities in the world have done this. Why is it so hard? So that's better idea number one. Better idea number two is about affordable housing. It's specifically about secondary suites. Every major city in Canada allows homeowners to create safe, effective, comfortable, and affordable suites in their home, regardless of where they live. We can do that here. It's pretty straightforward. You have to meet fire and safety regulations. You have to have provision for parking off the street unless you're within 500 meters of an LRT station, and the owner's got to live there. That's it. Done. We can do better. The third better idea is about making Calgary better for business and helping small business people, medium-sized business people, and big business people be able to do their business better. The root of our prosperity is the fact that we are a city where people can do business, where people want to do business. You know, we're not bad at attracting people here during the boom times. We're particularly bad at encouraging them to stay when the boom dries up, and encouraging them to be entrepreneurial, and encouraging them to be able to open their own businesses, start their own things, and grow their businesses here in Calgary. So there are some very specific things we can do. Number one, reduce the regulatory burden. When we think about Swinton Art Supplies and how much harassment they got because they dared to paint a mural on their windows, no one seemed to ask the question, why do we care what their windows look like? And we got sort of kind of an answer saying, well, it's about safety. And I said, well, in that case, are there rules saying you can't open a business with no windows? Or you can't close your blinds on a sunny day? Because if that's true, we might have to talk to every bank, every superstore, and every Walmart in the city. Of course that's not true. So the first thing is a regulatory reform that means going through every single bylaw in the city and saying, if this is not about health, safety, or improving people's quality of lives, we ought not to be doing it. And we ought to let businesses free to be able to run their own businesses. Number two, we have to rationalize the tax base on which businesses are taxed. This is part of a bigger conversation. Better idea number 8, I think it's going to be, about property tax reform and about how the property tax is probably the single worst way to fund a city there is. And we have to think about better ways of taxing. But prior to that, one simple thing we can do is combine the business property tax and the separate business tax. Simply doing that will save scads and administrative costs, which we can return back to the taxpayer, showing immediately that the city is serious about helping businesses succeed. So, regulatory reform, tax reform, and then finally, what we really know about what makes businesses succeed is businesses succeed when they can attract and retain the talent that they need in order to do their jobs. And no offense to the people from Saskatchewan who've built this great city, we need to be about more than being the shiny city on the hill for people from Regina. We play in a global pool of talent now, and we need to attract the very best in the world to our city. So helping business succeed also means investing in the urban fabric, investing in arts, investing in culture, recreation opportunities, and complete, walkable, livable, exciting communities. And that's how we take a holistic view of how we help business succeed. We cut the red tape, we rationalize their taxes, and we invest in the kind of things they need to attract the people they need in order to succeed. There's going to be lots more of these better ideas. The one next week, to no one's surprise who's watched me over the last little while, is about road and transit access to the Calgary International Airport. Here's the thing, folks. We have a plan to get that tunnel built, now, so it doesn't cost 4 times more 10 years down the road, and we're going to do it. That tunnel will be built before that runway opens, and we will be able to have adequate road access for the 18,000 people who work at the airport, for the people who travel to the airport, and we'll be able to implement a bus rapid transit system to get them there without needing their own car. As the summer rolls on, we'll have more better ideas that we want to engage your conversation with. Those will include things like how we support artists in this city, how we create the cultural environment that we need, how we focus on crime and safety. Hint, it goes beyond just hiring more cops, right? But these are all the goals we need to set for ourselves. Calgary must be the best place in Canada to open and grow your business. Calgary must be the safest major city in Canada. Every Calgarian must feel safe walking down any street in the city, any time of the day or night. Any Calgarian must feel comfortable being able to get to where they need to go without the use of a private vehicle. This is not rocket science, folks. In my old job, I got to work with lots of rocket scientists, so I often would say this is not rocket science, and they'd go, no, actually, really, it isn't. But it's not rocket science. It's very basic stuff about how we reform our governance system. It starts with a council that knows how to ask the right questions. It forwards to a council that focuses on what really matters. And it ends with a council who has the courage to make the tough decisions and to do the right thing. And that's really what this election is going to turn on. Who do we believe can actually do that? This week, we have been treated to a very interesting spectacle. I encourage you to think harder about what happened with the police budget this week. Forget about the police budget itself. What we had was the spectacle of a candidate for this office who claims to have as the linchpin of his campaign a commitment to zero-based budgeting. We start every budget at zero every year. Yet, was willing to approve a $300 million budget. That's a little bit more than the $5,000 for closing the 2 lanes of Memorial. Little bit, was willing to approve a $300 million budget without discussion, without debate, and without any paper in front of him. Can't do both. It is impossible to do both. So I think that some of our competitors will find that it's a heck of a lot easier to be Dr. No than to be Mr. Yes. So I want to get the chance to chat with more of you. I'm not going to take up too much more of your time, but I want to come back to where we started. And I want you to remember today. I want you to remember today is the day when you were standing here in this great building, retrofitted by the Neils, great community heroes, and today was the day we started. Today was the day we started that movement that changed the city. Today was the day we started the movement to make this great city even better. So I'm going to leave you with a question, 2 questions. Can we do better? Yes. Will we do better? Yes. Together, we will, in fact, create that better Calgary. Thank you.